cryptome.org, the original WikiLeaker. That's the New York Observer headline. He set up the site for him originally, but then immediately got suspicious of it. And this is the pretext. Just like they set up Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, they're now setting this up. And now they've got thousands of hackers attacking MasterCard, Visa, Sarah Palin for calling Assange un-American. You know, I don't want to hate Sarah Palin, but give me a break. She said that the South shouldn't have attacked North Korea and that we've got to stand with North Korea. She doesn't know that North Korea is the Stalinist state. She's now come out and said that Assange is un-American. Assange is Australian, honey. But this is just getting crazier and crazier by the minute. And now they've released cables dealing with DynCorp running little kidnapped boys, which you see in the news all the time. But there is some pretty bombshell stuff in here. But could that be that the mainstream media is going through this and only covering what they want to go over? Because so much of what I've read, and I've tried to go through a lot of it, and so much of what the media has picked up on really reinforces the whole war on terror propaganda. And anybody who knows the basics understands just because some document's secret doesn't mean it's true. You know, they had the Office of Special Plans saying they knew where the WMDs were, and that was secret. So some of the biggest propaganda you see is inside government because it's an echo chamber of brainwashing. John Young of cryptome.org, what's your view on what I just said?
Well, all classification is used to exaggerate the importance of information. And so you shouldn't believe something because it's secret, top secret, whatever. These are glamorizing terms. And so that, and by the way, people inside secret keeping know this, and that's why this stuff leaks out. Is the really important information is not classified. In fact, you don't even know it exists. So these known classifications are subterfuges to make it seem it's important stuff. Secondly, these cables look like they were written from reading the press rather than the other way around. And as we know, that's a common way that embassies gather information is read the press and quote it as their own views.
Yeah, they've got to file reports, so they sit there with a Word document open, cutting clips out. In fact, that's already been pointed out, that a lot of this stuff was excised right out of newspapers and not even changed. So it's a bunch of neocon propaganda.
That's right, and but that's what the media, sorry to say, that's what most of the media does for a living. Either quote each other or most of them quote one or two other stories, do almost no original reporting because that takes time, and they've got a deadline to meet, they always say, and we have limited space, they always say, and so we've got to go with what everyone else is doing.
Well, look, I mean, they get a government press release, and they put that in the article, and then the embassy takes the article that's a boiled-down government press release and then puts it out as secret. That's like a few months ago, they made all the TSA workers top secret or secret clearances. That way they can't protect themselves with a union. That way they can be lied to about the terror threat. That way they can feel like they're all James Bonds. It's kind of like giving somebody at a newspaper associate editor title in lieu of pay.
You hit it right on the head. These are often ways to boost morale within an organization, is declare something secret and let you in on it. By the way, as they do this to presidents, too, as they read them into the secrecy world, and shall I go on with this?
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, is that, because, we have all these people outside government saying, we got to do this, we got to do that, and then they go inside and suddenly they don't say that anymore. And it's usually because they've been read into the secrecy world where they're under lifetime threat to never disclose it, and they suddenly shut up. It's a one-way street, and you can never back out once you're in. That's why there are no ex-spies. Every spy has lifelong secrecy built into their blood. And that's why some of them are out there bullshitting about what they're revealing, because they're under lifetime constraint, and just a serious constraint. But mainly is that it's a good way to make a living. Being inside the secrecy world is an awfully good thing. Of course, it started when the first church was set up, or the first kingdom was set up, so it's been around for a while, Alex. Secrecy is a narcotic against them. And the biggest threat to the secret keepers are people who are outside that world, not the other secret keepers in other countries or other churches, but those who are outside who might blow the whistle on this.
Well, I have to agree with you on this because overall it allows the dominant media that's being supplanted by alternative media to demonize the internet, to begin to grow the surveillance grid towards the original incremental shutdown of the web. All of this happens, the web as we know it, all of this happens with the backdrop of the FCC commissioner saying freedom of speech is an aberration in the media. We're going to shut it down, government approved. All of this comes out with a backdrop of the cybersecurity legislation, which just legalizes what's already is in place. The Cyber Command admits 2 years ago they've been launching, quote, attacks against themselves to test systems. We know they hire most of the hackers. We know that Assange got in trouble many years ago and was kind of brought into that world. But I think, like Lee Harvey Oswald, there's a good chance they're, again, setting him up, or this could be all part of a big pageant, kind of like Daniel Ellsberg and the Pentagon Papers, where they tried to prosecute him, but then the case fell apart to give him street cred. We know the naval intelligence operative, Woodward, was with Deep Throat. Alexander Haig and Kissinger. Deep Throat, we know, is a composite to burn Kissinger, to burn Nixon. So the whole way this is going, it's very, very clear. But then you've almost got to support Julian Assange because the charges against him are clearly false. I mean, not wearing a condom and consensual sex by some feminist who writes articles about how to set men up in the legal system. You can't make that up. And so you've got to support Assange, because if they're able to nail him for no reason, then I can be arrested for the secret documents that I've put out that are real, that they did not want people to get, like the MIAC and Homeland Security reports. I happen to know one of the people that leaked me stuff. They found out about other things he was doing, and he got in a lot of trouble. But I mean, this is all just incredible stuff that's going on. John, you just heard me rant about the point about Assange. I mean, if we don't support him and free speech, even though this is all basically a setup, then doesn't it set the precedent for them to come throw John Young or Alex Jones in the hoosegow?
Well, it's a good point, because, in fact, someone said on the mail list, hey, why has John Young not been charged with rape? And I had to laugh at that, because you see me compared to Assange, you know that charge would never stand up. But my point is that don't be lulled by this rape charge in Sweden. There's more coming along that line. This is just the tip of what's coming out of Sweden. And so don't forget, we're on a bombshell campaign, Alex, and every day something unexpected happens. So something in a series of unexpected things will happen on that strand while other things are happening on other strands. So this is a multi-stranded operation. And we're actually being teased with the easy stuff right now to set us up for more interesting stuff.
Well, we've seen that pattern. It's building, as you said. And I got to hand it to you. Over a year ago, you laid it out with precision. Let's go back, though, because you've been an insider in this entire world. What are your WikiLeaks sources or other hacker insiders? What are they telling you, John, that you can relay to us? What bombshells can you give us?
Well, let me tell you who they are and where you can find their names. You can find them on Wikipedia. Look up the term cypherpunk, and I'll spell that for you if you haven't heard of it.
That's a PKD term.
Cypher spelled with a Y. C-Y-P-H-P-U-N-K.
Cypherpunk, got it.
That's right. Look there and scroll down the bottom, and you'll see my name, Assange's name, several dozen names of people who all plotted all this and are still very active in this. And I've started pointing to this now. When you want to know what's behind WikiLeaks, go to this one site, and you'll see the entire gang. You'll see a whole bunch of links to other sources, and you'll see how long this has been going on and why you're not going to be able to contain it. And so that's the first thing I can tell you, is this is public information that's been out there for years, but no one did the slightest amount of research on this. And so that beyond this Wikipedia entry, I've got the archives of the cypherpunks mail list that went on for several years where all these issues were thoroughly discussed. This is very high-level technical material. And these are not young people like Assange. Some of these people are extremely wealthy, and they're not George Soros, who's clueless technically, and he thinks his billions makes him all-powerful, but it doesn't. It makes him rather stupid, like the CIA is stupid because of their alleged power. So these are people who are much craftier than that, but I would recommend that people take a look at the cypherpunks Wikipedia and study it.
Okay, I'm looking at the cipher. John, I'm looking at the cypherpunks on Wikipedia. Scroll up for me, guys,
okay,
to the top.
Scroll down to the bottom.
Okay, but I want to make sure I've got the right entry. Go to the top for me real quick. It's the cypherpunk entry on Wikipedia, and not to be confused with the PKD cyberpunk. Okay, right. Let's scroll to the bottom now. Go ahead.
Well, don't go down the bottom. You'll see there's a list, a number of people who are involved in this. I'll be there. Assange is there. A number of people there that you may not have heard of, but the founder of EFF, the founder of a number of other...
John Gilmore of Sun Microsystems.
So look down there. There's some very notable people there. And they got this started in the early 90s, and I got on the board in 1994. I was amazed that there was such a group like this. Extremely intelligent, highly capable engineers, scientists, cryptographers, highly political astute people. Assange came on board in 1995, and there were several thousand people on this list. It's an amazing operation.
Okay, so it's a wide spectrum, but what's the overall political kernel to this? Is this truly independent, or is this a government agency, or is this a combine?
Well, I'm going to try to give you an answer that may be a little hard to understand. It is none of those. The intent was to have nothing that can be attacked easily. So it's not an organization. It's not an entity. It's a concept. It's a aspiration. It's a goal. It is not anything you're going to be able to take down by the usual means. That's the very purpose of it, is to not make it, and that's why I say Wikileaks will not be taken down. It'll pop up some other way.
So you're saying it's almost like the internet is a bunch of computers connected to each other and can't be taken down. This is just basically hackers and computer experts that built a system that anybody in the group can pump info out and nobody can stop it. And that's why WikiLeaks people told the news yesterday, to take us down, you'll have to shut the web down.
That's right. That's why it was set up.